everybody, welcome to my channel for a new battle report. This time a practice game against Hugo from Warhall. Really happy to play a game against him. So it was really a pleasure. So thanks again, Hugo, for this game. The list we played, so mine is exactly the same as the game before, so you should know it already. And Hugo was playing the following. He has two Exarch characters who do magic as well as being general and BSB, which is I think a good setup. Not many points invested. They are good in combat. They provide magic and leadership plus reroll, so really nice. Then he has spears, auxiliaries, and a chaff piece in core, which is quite good. Unit of Dread Knight, block of Judicator, small unit of Acolyte, 2 Hunting Chariot, 2 Black Cloaks unit, a Kraken and a Mist Leviathan. So definitely a good list. We see some similarities with the list that I played against last game. It's not a Death Star of Spear this time, it's more second block of Judicator plus Dread Knight, so it's more combat oriented, but still some good shooting piece that can chaff as well. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. Unfortunately for me, we play Capture the Flag, which is not the best when you face this type of list. But it's definitely going to be an interesting one. We play Encircle as well, and below you have the spell selection of both players. So as you can see, he hasn't much spell to cast, but still enough, so plenty of combat buff basically, and Hereditary, which is also interesting from distance as well. Matchup analysis, so secondary seems a bit complicated. It reduces basically my amount of available chaff to block some of his units. He has many, fighty unit plus chaff piece plus some monster and so on. Basically, I would have been really happy to be able to use also my small darts in core to chaff, especially Judicator for some turn. Infantry with Frost Mammoth can scare Judicator, so basically Merc Vets and the Tribesman can have good combat against Judicator if I can use the Freezing Aura. Starting seems interesting to start do range damage and avoid getting pressure too much. I remember from my last game against Hugo, he was also playing the Black Cloaks and was able to push me, so basically scout the Black Cloaks, push them towards me and push behind with the block, which I felt is not easy to play against. And therefore, yeah, all of this combined together makes me feel the matchup is not so easy for me, it's rather negative. Deployment, so I wander all four sides, and as you can see, the map is pretty symmetric with 2 impassable here on the right and the left. Basically, I took big center and the hill, which reduces his ability to deploy in the front and really rush me hard. So I felt it was the right choice. And he dropped for first turn, obviously. What he did is basically a strong left flank, denying me the good part of the map. So basically, if I want to get the good part of my map, I need to be facing him. And if I don't want to, I need to play around impassable, which is not so easy to do for my list. So the way he deployed, Acolyte to the left, Dread Knight, 2 Shooty Chariot, 1 Auxiliaries, the other one is in the forest, Judicator with the 2 characters, the Light Cav, and on the right he has the Spears. And then on the far right he put the 2 single models to be annoying on my strong flank, so he put Leviathan and the Kraken. My counter deployment, so basically I took care of minimizing his turn 1 shooting. What I completely forgot about is the 2 units of cloaks that can scout in the field and push me, which is exactly something I wanted to avoid, and I completely forgot about them while doing my deployment. So I did a good job at minimizing, but not at blocking his scouting option in the field, which is a big mistake. And you will see it has some consequences for his turn 1 ability to push me. So Giant on the left that can with 1 movement be behind the hill, behind cover, and is out of range turn 1. The same goes for the Frosty that could have been also a bit behind the hill. Can be scared by the cloaks moving forward and shooting him. So maybe something even better was possible here to get some cover. The Merc Vets, which could have been in the ruin, for example, if I remembered about the cloaks. Then the dogs as a chaff piece. The BSB is here in the middle to be able to be within 18 of the Tuskers with 3 bruisers. The Death Star with the remaining 3 characters, a small unit of bruisers. So I wanted to have my flag in the game, the darts in the game if I need to, but also able to escape if I don't need them. And then on the far right, I debated a bit, should I put the Merc Vets here on the right and push forward, shoot him? But I felt that would be out of action, and playing with the Freezing Aura of the Frosty seems key to stop this unit pushing too much. So I felt by putting the Tusker somewhere here, it could be complicated to face the Judicator, basically. His turn 1, so yeah. He moves his scout to shoot at my Mercvets, which are out of cover and is going to be an issue. He moves behind the impassable, makes the charge impossible for my blocks of Triton and also for the Tuskus, which is well done, and plays the Kraken here to threaten me. On the left, he pushes Max and start to wheel around impassable with the cavalry to push towards the middle. In the magic phase, he 4 dice hereditary, got a 20, so I didn't manage to dispel that. And then with shooting, he managed to do 7 wounds to my Mercvets, which hurts a lot. So already lost like a third of the life point of the unit before even playing, which is definitely an issue. My turn 1, I saw an opportunity. Basically, this shaman here on the left, it's the apprentice of Thaumaturgy. He had a charge on 8 Swift Stride to charge the Leviathan in the flank, which leaves him with long counter charge here, and the Kraken couldn't charge. I felt it's a charge, it's a flank, it's 3 attack strength 6 plus d3 strength 4. He has only strength 4 attack, so I should be fine basically. So I felt this is an interesting one. I took it, but I failed it, and I didn't roll enough to be out of the unit, meaning I had to stay in the unit and the unit couldn't move, which isn't that bad, but I felt it was worth a try. And the rest I backed in the piece of train and backed the giant as well, and those guys move slightly forward but not too much. In the magic, and I turn around them in case you want to fly over the impassable, I can charge him. In the magic phase, I got d6 plus 1, so basically the one from Thaumaturgy. Against the cloak, kill only 2. And then I kill another 2 with shooting from the BSB and nothing from the Mercvet, so there is 1 alive, which is always annoying. I failed Swarm of Insect, also in magic. What else? And yeah, that's it, I think, for my range damage. He's turn 2. So he pushes me hard, uses the cloaks in front of the Frosty, the other one to chaff the Mercvets, and he pushes Max with them. And yeah, the giant being behind the hill cannot see them, which is annoying. Push the chariot as well. And here I could have, by being behind the hill, I could have at least covered this angle. Here that was a stupid mistake to allow him to go over the flank. But if I'm behind the hill, to be honest, he could as well push here and then I don't see him as well. So I don't think there was so many good options. Maybe I could have been just a bit on the hill to have a look here in the middle, have a look at here, have a look at them, and would have been maybe harder for him to consider the giant charging here in the flank, would have been more annoying. So I should have been maybe slightly on the hill with the giant, would have been the right move. And the rest he just pushed here. He maintained basically the statu quo on the right. In the magic phase, he got another 20 on 4 dice hereditary, which I'd let go, and with shooting he did 4 wounds to my Frosty. And on my turn 2, I saw an opportunity. Basically, I don't know if you see it already or not, but basically it's charging the Frosty, getting the overrun into them, being within 9 of them, and then my Death Star can charge his Death Star on the 9 Swift Ride. If I make it, I should win the game. At least that's my impression. If I fail it, it's not too bad. Even doing 6, I'm still in the front of them, so I should be fine. I could buff myself, should be okay. But basically it's a big opportunity for me, and if I don't do it, at some point I'm going to lose, because as you can see, I lost here wounds, I lost here wounds. Basically I saw it at more or less the last option to do something to win the game, more or less. Other than that would have been just to retreat and at some point lose the Mercvets and be in trouble. So I took this charge, he passes the terror check, and I failed the roll to the 9 here, Swift Stride, but Hugo very nicely told me, it's a training game, let's try it, I want to see this combat, which I felt really interesting because I want to see it as well. So we made the charge that way, so he has hereditary, and I was able to activate the chaff to chaff those 2 units in the front, so no overrun into them. So basically I'm relying on the Frosty to make the overrun to block them, and other than that I should be fine in this combat. Move the giant here in the middle to be visible from 1 chariot, and I want to trap those guys because we play capture the flag. And here I just continue to move forward, didn't move much with the BSB, and move a bit back those guys to shoot here and be ready to counter charge something if I need to. And also making this distance of charge a bit longer in case something bad happens. In the magic phase, he Binding Scroll Savage Fury, which makes sense to not allow me get battle focus here. If I strike before him, that could be too much. Then Random Smite, make -1 strengths on his Adjudicator, and I got Break the Spirit as well. So between Ligaton and Break the Spirit, he hit me on 5 pre-rollable battle focus, and I strike before him. So that should be enough. Shooting, I kill the last guy here, and then let's do close combat. So when I killed the last guy here, he uses 1 token of hereditary, did 2 wounds to the Mercvets. And then here I killed 4. 1 was alive, he strike with 2 attacks, did nothing to me. And he uses another token to do some strength 4 hits, but wounding on 6 up did nothing as well. So he has no hereditary anymore, if I recall correctly. Then he passed the panic check here, 9 rollable obviously. I overrun, I need a 6, I roll a 5. I stop in front of him, so I'm chaffing him, but I would have liked a lot to charge and do some impact and attacks before him, do some wounds, and get a chance of, yeah, at least do something before I die. So it's a 5. I'm within the range, so we will see what happens next. What I did is, here I have my Shaman Apprentice Thaumaturgy. I challenge because there are 2 characters here. So I challenge, he took it, I think with the BSB, making his general cannot attack. And the fight between those 2, you can see here the stat. So he has, I think, like 4 or 5 attack. 4 attack, I think. Eating on, he has Break the Spirit, -1 strength, but I think it's like eating on 4 and wounding on 4. Or wounding on 3s even, because he's strength 5, strength 4. Yeah, wounding on 3s. And with that, he managed to do the 4 wounds and kill the Shaman, which is unlikely and very annoying because I cannot attack on him. Cannot stomp on him, cannot do wounds on him. So I only did with impact, but he saved it, I think. I did nothing. And the rest, I went before him, so as you can see, that's the stat, what I should do more or less, the green area. So as you can see, there is a high variance between the minimum is like how much we can take, the less, it's between what and what. So it's between 6, 8, 10, 10, and 3, 10, 13, 17, 21, 23. So between 10 and 23 is the green area, so to say, and I did 14. So I think a bit below than average, but nothing to complain about, I would say. And then he hits back and he did 11. I think he had no hereditary anymore, so I think that's the 11 I count between this screenshot and the next one. So I think I count right the amount of wounds, and I think he had no other source than the Judicator to do these wounds. So I think this is what he did, which is quite unlikely. There was a lot of battle focus involved, reroll to hit. Can do a lot of damage with battle focus, and he managed to do yeah, it was on 5 up rollable battle focus and then wounding on 3 up, and with that 11 wounds, meaning he lost by 1 only. Could have been worse. And he passes the check, which is annoying for me because definitely I would have expected to deal with him, but I have another turn to get rid of him. Now I'm not striking after, I'm going to strike after, but he hasn't so many Judicator left, so we'll see. There is still a turn to save this combat, and then my next turn could be free to charge. So his turn 3, he charged with Acolyte in the flank and Dread Knight in the front, the idea being the Acolyte can overrun and maybe chaff them. Try to punish the giant with all the shooting in the world to shoot at him, and put some units, try to block myself in the reform. I think it's well done, try to block me, but I should still be able to get 180 degree more or less, charge them, or decide to charge the spears. I still have options, so we'll see. He backed a bit away. He's happy to maintain my Tusker out of the game, basically. And I think this is better for him than me, so I have a lot of points here stuck, which is very annoying. In the magic phase, Binding Scroll, no die enemy. He got Rot Within, which basically make him now hit on 4 up, but he's not 8-read anymore, so it's 4 up, and then wounding still on 3 up. So we will see. Shooting did a total of 4 wounds to my giant. And the Frost Mammoth, so he killed me, did this combat first, get an overrun on a 10, ended up here in the front of the Mercvets, which is annoying, obviously. Reform those guys. And the other combat, so this time, what happens? This time, so first of all, I took a challenge with the Kagadai guy against his BSB this time, because I killed the champion last round. So against his BSB... basically it's a bit more, if you take the stomp into account, it's a bit more than 50% of killing him. I did something which is okay but a bit low, like 1 wound on his BSB. He did nothing to me, so yeah, obviously disappointed because this is huge. Killing the BSB, doing more wounds in the combat result is obviously huge. Then I think we did, as you can see, some normal numbers on the rest. So between his character and the unit and myself, we did normal numbers, and he lost by 2. So as you can see, it's very dependent on what happens in the Kagadai combat. lost by 2, and passes the 7 rollable, which is again for me now a big problem, because he can post-combat pivot and charge me, and there is pretty much nothing I can do, so we will see. So this is my turn, so I'm going to be able to reform after combat, but basically I'm stuck here in the middle, and he has some strong unit that can charge me. And as you can see, he decided to overrun. Yeah. My turn 3, he could have also turned around the spear and look at me, maybe, but maybe was afraid of getting them in the flank, I guess. So my turn 3, I moved those guys out of arc of them, push that away from the spears, move them to the side, so basically trying to save my flag but still be in the game and within BSB range. Charge with the Murkrats on the Acolyte. There is a small overrun onto the cavalry, so basically I need to do wounds with impact, not suffer too many wounds, and then get into combat, and if that works I block them at least, and my Death Star is safe for the moment. So this is another decisive moment. And my Giant charged those guys to force a panic check on 8 no reroll. This is flags, so I felt this is important. Took the charge, he passes the third check, stand and shoot, did the remaining 3 wounds, goodbye. Yeah, happens. What happened in the magic phase? So I have only the shamanist guy alive, remember. So what happened in the magic phase? I got Savage Fury on them, and that's it. The rest he was able to dispel. Let's start with this combat. I do 3 impacted that wounds on 2 up, but he passes 3 ward save, so he's full. Strikes before me, did 5 wounds to me. I have only the champion alive, so I cannot overrun anymore into them. And that's a big issue, because I did a couple of wounds back, like 3. And we stick, but yeah, not what I wanted, not what I needed at least. Now the Kagadai killed the BSB. We do wounds. There is only the general alive, who is going to flee. So now the question, it was on a very hard check. So now the question is, what do I do? So first of all, panic check 8, 8, 8. He passes all 3. I think it's 8 because the general broke, so should be 8, 8, 8. Obviously, I would have need those guys to flee. Would have made my life much easier, but they stick. I think those guys fled, yeah, but it's not so bad for him. They fled like a 10 here, so there's still a chance to rally them. Plan A was pursue, get into them, get charged by them. I would get only 3 guys in contact and get wounds on them and get a chance to basically catch the general. Plan B would have been to reform, look at them, but then I can get charged in the flank by them, which brings combat results. Still annoying for me, they strike before me. So I felt the best plan is to pursue, so that's what I did. His turn 4, counter charge in the flank with the cavalry. He can only do 7 or 8 wounds on my tribesman. I have 2 characters alive. Maybe I can stick, and then if I stick, that's 2 characters against some cavalry which are not charging anymore. You never know. Turn around to face those guys, pushes with the monster to face me, so this is going to be interesting. And here we're stuck in combat, as you can see. He rallied those guys on 8. In the magic phase, he has no magic phase anymore, and me too. Shooting, nothing crazy happens, I guess. And then close combat, he killed the remaining 8 wounds of the tribesman. The Kagadai guy, between the impact and my attack, I kill all 5 guys. And the shaman did nothing on those guys with his 3 attacks on the Savage Fury. Nothing on them, meaning I lost by a bunch because he has 8 wounds to 3, so that's +3. And he has a charge, a flank, a big flank, and even a standard, so I lost by a lot. Like a double 1 or a 1 and 2 to roll, so very low roll. I fled, he pursued, catch me. So this is it. My turn. Let's try to have more fun. Charge a Tusker in, turn around those guys facing him. Move. I failed the march check, but still managed to move out of his. And yeah, he can see me that way. No, I passed the march check, but he can see me here, so I cannot move here. But I found a way to move out of arc again with them and the BSB as well. So we'll see. The small Murkrats finishes the Acolyte, but with 1 wound left. Try to move away from his shooting, basically, but it's kind of hard to do. Maybe I could have moved like a 12 here and moved the BSB with him. Would have been maybe better to try to delay a bit his shooting, and maybe I can save myself. I don't know. No magic phase, close combat. I do some impact on him. We strike same time between the beast and his beast. He did a total of 7 wounds to me. Yeah, it hurts. I mean, hatred, strength 7 wounds to me, but I managed to one-shot him and reform. So that's nice. And yeah, that's it. The rest, it just pushes me a bit. At some point, charge those guys, I guess. We'll see. Yeah, the BSB moves into this unit. Those guys try to escape, but didn't manage. Made a short flee. I wanted to flee maybe all the way here. And they flee not a lot. And basically, it's going to eat them. And on my turn 6, I'm going to charge in the flank them, make them flee, but I don't catch them. And that's how we ended up. And here we play just cat and mouse, and he moves above me. I'm not able to catch anything with my Tuskers. So that's the end of the game. Ended up being 16-4 because he has obviously captured the flag. Both Death Star are dead. And he took definitely more points than me. So yeah, I think I was right to go on the right on the deployment, but the deployment was not perfect. Allowing the scouts to come forward and shoot at my Merc Vets was a big problem. The deployment could have been better. I had a huge opportunity to win big. I think definitely turn 2 Ogre Khan. I think he could have avoided by chaffing better. That freezing aura is within 9 of the Judicator. I think this is huge. He could have also pushed a bit less with Judicator if he was afraid of the charge. So plenty of safer option for Hugo to approach those combats maybe slightly later. But the rest was definitely right. But this big mistake. And I was really happy to see this combat, to see how it goes. I think it was also interesting for Hugo. It's definitely key in training to be able to try those combat, to see what's the math behind the combat. I think this is really interesting. Much more interesting than not getting into this combat and just him continuing to push me and at some point get into this combat and win the secondary. So very interesting to see that. Thanks again to Hugo to allowing the charge. Was really some fun fights and dice roll and yeah, interesting learning for both of us, I think. And difficult matchup, especially on Capture the Flag. I think it is a hard one for me to play. Deployment, what could have done better? So definitely a similar approach to the last game against Red Elf that I did against those 2 monsters, which is putting the Merc Vets here. No matter what he does here, I can, if he moves away, I push 12, and as you can see, from turn 2, I'm in the game to threaten something from the right. I'm away of all the shooting that he has, so I think this is the best positioning from the Merc Vets. Tuskers here, maybe find a good position to see his flanks, so not allow him to do the tricks that he did. I think this is perfectly doable. And as you can see, I'm out of range of all the nasty shooting from the left. Basically, only them being in range, it's not a big deal, I felt. Putting the Death Star here, out of both chariots, but covering the field, not allowing him to scout here. And maybe get some better positioning here with the monsters to not allow the scout to push me too much and get wounds on the Frosty. I think this is pretty key that the Frosty is able to survive at the beginning of the game. So maybe make sure that he doesn't take too many wounds here. I think that would have been a better approach to get better chance in this game. But definitely already good to start on the right. But yeah, forgetting about the cloaks put me in trouble too early, and then I lost wounds on the Merc Vets that are very precious in those type of game. So that's it, guys, for this battle report. I hope you liked it. It was a very interesting one. Thanks again to my opponent for the game. It was really cool, and I will talk to you soon on the channel for another battle report. Bye bye.